We'll get started here in just a minute. We've got someone trying to call in and see if they can get that figured out, and we'll start the meeting here. And if everyone is sign in at the table out in the hallway out there would be great. If not, if you could sign in would be appreciated. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to the Brookings County Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. This meeting is being recorded, televised, and viewable on Swiftel Channel 19, ITC Channel 168, or the Brookings County YouTube channel. I will now call this meeting to order. I would like to welcome those in attendance at tonight's meeting. The Brookings County Planning Commission is a 9-member commission whose function is to recommend approval or disapproval of land use plans, zoning ordinance, subdivision plats, and amendments thereof to the Brookings County Commission. The commission makes its recommendation based upon the adopted comprehensive plan for the physical development of unincorporated areas of Brookings County. As a matter of policy, all motions are to be made in a positive. After a motion is moved and seconded, it is open for debate. Those supporting the motion shall in turn give their reasons. Those opposing the motion shall then offer their reasons. After everyone has been given a chance to be heard, the commission shall recommend approval or disapproval based on the testimony and information presented. A simple majority vote of a quorum of members of the Planning and Zoning Board in attendance is required to forward the recommendation. Since we have people on the phone, Richard, would you do a roll call?
Here.
Whoop, excuse me, Bartley.
Here.
McHugh? Mike, are you here? Mike McHugh?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Mike. Thank you. Davis?
Here.
Klein John?
Here.
Kyle Vanderwall?
Here.
Terrell Spence?
Here.
Randy Jensen, are you on the phone?
Yes.
Thank you. Ford?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Dietrich?
Here.
All members are present.
Approval of minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Vanderwall,
Second.
second by Bartley.
Okay, Bartley,
Aye.
They didn't say my name.
McHugh,
Yes.
A roll call.
Davis,
Yes.
Oh, wait.
Kleinjohn,
Yes.
Kyle Vanderwall,
Aye.
Terrell Spence, Randy Jensen,
Yes.
Roger Erickson,
Yes.
Chad Ford.
Yes.
Motion passes. If you're on the phone, if you could mute your phone until asked to speak, or we will, if you get to a spot to kind of break up the background noise that we kind of feedback that we kind of get, would be appreciated. Thank you.
Invitation for citizens to schedule a time on the commission agenda for an item not listed. Is there anybody in the audience or on the phone?
Caller and tell her they didn't say my name.
Who was that?
Lisa Bolus.
Okay, yep. If you could mute your phone until your agenda item comes up, please. We'll
Thank you.
Okay. Seeing and hearing none other. Disclosure of conflicts of interest, relationships to applicant ex parte communication.
I need to be recused from variance 11.
Mr. Vanderwall needs to be from 11.
I need to be for my application.
Okay. And Mr. Davis. Oh, yeah.
The last on the agenda. Can you just listen?
Okay, is there any others? Approval of agenda, is there a motion? Motion by Kleinjohn,
Second.
second by Vanderwall.
Davis,
Aye.
Kleinjohn, aye.
Muted.
Kyle
Unmuted.
Vanderwall,
Aye.
Terrell Spence, Randy Jensen,
Yes.
Roger Erickson,
Aye.
Mike Bartley,
Aye.
Mike McHugh,
Aye.
Chad Ford.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Consideration of plats. Plat of Lot 2A, Lake Ponce Heights Edition, Christopher Madsen subdivision and government lots 3 and 4 in Section 5, Township 112 North, Range 52W of the 5th Prime Meridian, Brookings County, South Dakota. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Vanderwall. Second by Spence. Richard, would you read the staff report?
Yes, plat 2020, plat 018, Robert Robish is replatting their lot at Lake Ponce to the ordinary high water mark, which is included in this report of the subdivision. The width of the lot will stay the same as the depth that will be extending out to the ordinary high water mark from the original plat. There's a copy of the plat extending out here. It just shows the beacon map. This is where the original lot line was. It was right here, and they're extending it out to the ordinary high water mark. Just a beacon map showing the area where it was, and this is similar to what other ones we've done in the past. And
Is the applicant here on the phone?
no, the applicant is not here this evening.
We'll now open the public portion of the hearing. Is there anybody in the audience or on the phone for this? Seeing none, is there anybody in the audience on the phone against this? Seeing none, we will close the public portion of the hearing. Is there any additional comments or questions from members of the board? Seeing none, Richard, would you call the vote?
Aye. Excuse me, Daryl Kleinjohn. Aye. Kyle Vanderwall.
Aye.
Terrell Spence. Randy Jensen.
Yes.
Roger Erickson.
Aye.
Mike Bartley.
Aye.
Mike McHugh.
Aye.
Tom Davis.
Aye.
Chad Ford.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Agenda item 2020 Plat 019. Plat of lots 2B and 3A of the Lake Ponce Heights Edition, Christopher Madsen's subdivision and government lots 3 and 4 in Section 5, Township 112 North, Range 52W of the 5th Prime Meridian, Brookings County, South Dakota. Is there a motion?
So
Move
moved.
approval.
Motion by Vanderwall,
Second.
second by Bartley. Richard, would you read the staff report?
Yes. 2020 Plat 019. Tina Haroldson is replatting her lot at Lake Ponce to the ordinary high water mark, and there was a property line adjustment between the two cabins on Lot 2 and 3. They're plotting it out to the depth of the ordinary high water mark. The applicant owns both lots, the cabin on 3A was built in 1950, and the cabin on 2B was built in 1930. And the lot line between 2 and 3 is being adjusted slightly to get a setback between the two structures. This is the property line adjustment right here. It was straight. Now they're jogging over a few feet to go around the house and give a setback there, and then back to the ordinary high water mark. This is the beacon map with the overlay on it. You can see whether this is the original lot line right here. We're jogging over to go on the west side of this house right here, and between the two structures to give them a setback between the two, to separate the two structures so they're not on overlapping lots. This is the beacon map, just a little better picture of it. You can see the lot on house on this one right here is right on the lot line right here, so they just jogged over and went back to the ordinary high water mark. And that's all that I have.
Is the applicant here or on the phone?
The applicant is not here.
Is not. Okay, then we will open the public portion of the hearing. Is there anybody in the audience or on the phone for this? Seeing and hearing none, is there anybody in the audience on the phone against this? Seeing and hearing none, I will close the public portion of the hearing. Is there any additional comments or questions from members of the board? Seeing none, Richard, would you call a vote?
Kyle Vanderwall.
Aye.
Terrell Spence.
Aye.
Randy Jensen.
Yes.
Roger Erickson.
Aye.
Mike Bartley.
Aye.
Mike McHugh.
Aye.
Tom Davis.
Aye.
Daryl Kleinjohn.
Aye.
And Chad Ford.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Agenda item 2020 Plat 020, Plat of Subrook Farm Edition in the southeast 1/4 of Section 20, Township 109 North, Range 49W of the 5th Prime Meridian, Brookings County, South Dakota. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Vanderwall,
Second.
second by Erickson. Richard, would you read the staff report?
Yes, 2020 Plat 020, Subrook Farms is platting off 76.6 acres from the 160 acres they own in Section 20, and it will contain pasture and farm ground. It contains pasture and farm ground, and the platted area is going to contain most of the pasture and some of the farm ground. It meets the platting requirements of the comprehensive plan for the ag use district. This is the area they're platting off right here. Kind of an L-shaped a little bit. This is the beacon map showing the proposed plat. Follows the pasture right here and some farm ground and a little more farm ground right there, but that's the proposed plat, what it will look like on the beacon map. Here's the whole quarter section map following the boundary of the waterway and the north side of the pasture. And that's all that I have.
Is the applicant here on the phone?
The applicant is not here or on the phone.
Okay, then we will open the public portion of the hearing. Is there anybody in the audience or on the phone that is for this? Seeing and hearing none, is there anybody in the audience or on the phone that is against this? Seeing and hearing none, we will close the public portion of the hearing. Is there any comments or questions from the members of the board? Seeing and hearing none, Richard, would you call a vote?
Terrell Spence. Randy Jensen.
Yes.
Roger Erickson.
Aye.
Mike Bartley.
Aye.
Mike McHugh.
Aye.
Tom Davis.
Aye.
Darrell Kleinjohn.
Aye.
Kyle Vanderwall.
Aye.
Chad Ford.
Yes.
Motion passes.
We will now convene as the Brookings County Board of Adjustment. The Board of Adjustment is a 9-member board which has the power for variances, conditional uses, appeals from non-ministerial decisions of the zoning officer. The concurring vote of 2/3 of the full board membership of the board, 6 votes, is necessary for approval of variance or an appeal of the zoning officer. The concurring vote of a simple majority of those board members present and voting is necessary for approval of a conditional use permit. In accordance with Robert's Rules of Order, we require a motion to approve a request before the request can be debated. As a matter of policy, all motions are to be made in the positive. The board, under specific powers granted to it by the state, shall authorize variances from zoning requirements where special conditions existing on the land will result in an unnecessary hardship for the applicant. Financial disadvantage to the property owner shall not constitute proof of an unnecessary hardship. Agenda item 2020, conditional use 010 or 017. Thomas A. Davis has made an application 2020 CU 017 to the Brookings County Board of Adjustment for conditional use Article 11, Section 11.01A Agricultural District Conditional Use Permit Number 5A Rock Crushers. This property is described as the east 1/2 of the northeast 1/4, southwest 1/4, northeast 1/4, southeast 1/4, northwest 1/4 of Section 4, Township 110 North, Range 48W, Alton Township. Is there a motion? Motion by Diedrich.
Second.
Who was that? Second by Vanderwall. Richard, would you read the staff report?
Yes, 2020 CU 017. Tom Davis has applied for conditional use number 5 on the above described real property. Conditional use 2020 CU 001 for conditional use number 5 for sand, gravel, or quarry operation, mineral exploration and extraction to mine gravel on the site was approved by the Board of Adjustment on February 4th, 2020. No material will be allowed to brought in to crush. Only the gravel mined on site will be allowed to be crushed on site. Tom Sturzinger from Taunton, Minnesota will be the crushing operator. And the operator's site plan, business plan, hours of operation, reclamation plan were included in this report. The hours of operation will be from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday and 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Saturday. And as noted in the site plan, there'll be, during the mining and the crushing operation, there will be a berm constructed along the natural waterway to keep the soil and sediment from entering the waterway. The waterway is located in the northeast corner of the proposed mining area, and it is in the floodplain. And in the first occurrence of aquifer materials map shows the area to be in Zone B, which the presence of sand and gravel is generally or equal to 0 to 50 feet below the land surface. On-site fuel storage will have a containment structure and will be located on the south side of the property, as noted on the site map. The reclamation plan is to stockpile the topsoil. Once the mining is complete, the topsoil will be replaced back to the top of the ground and seeded back to the pasture. East Dakota Water Development District has reviewed the plans and the documents provided by the applicant and the operator. The zoning office has reviewed the documents and made a site visit to the location. Public notices were published in the Brookings Register on October 18th and 25th, 2020, and the White Tri-City Star and the Elkton Record on August 20th and 27th. Letters were sent to the adjoining landowners, the Alton and Township Chairman and clerks. There's a copy of the conditional use permit. The operator's hours of operation and business plan. Site plan showing the mining area, haul road going out to the west, proposed stockpile in that area, fuel containment here. This is just the beacon map showing the area. They're on right direction here. Just a beacon map showing the proposed mining and crushing area, stockpile, haul road out to 480th. And that's the only entrance and exit to the property for mining and or crushing will be out to the west of 480th Avenue, north on a half a mile of Alton Township Road, on 1 mile of Sherman Township, to 207th Avenue, which is a Brookings County gravel road. Number 8. And that is stated in the findings on the mining conditional use permit, and that will also be stated on the crushing conditional use permit. That is the only entrance and exit to the property for mining of gravel and crushing, hauling it in and out. This is just a picture looking towards the west from the pasture. This is the proposed stockpile area. Way over on the other side here is 480th Avenue, which they would go out to the west and take a right hand, take a hard right and go north up to 207th Street, which is Brookings County Gravel Road, number 8. Like I say, if this motion is passed or denied, the mining permit is still a valid permit. They can still mine gravel on the property and haul out to the designated haul route as stated. So, and that's all that I have.
Would the applicant please come forward for questions from the board and please clearly state your name? Do any members of the board have any questions for Mr. Davis?
Tom, do you have signed road use agreements from the townships?
Sure.
But yes, I have a road agreement from Alton Township and Sherman Township. I'm actually in the process of engineering the steep hill to the north there, a half a mile north of or approximately a half a mile north of where I'm going to access onto 480th Avenue. The engineering has determined that the hill is currently at 17%. And we're planning to cut that down to a 6 to 7% grade, and so that it's safe and wider for both gravel trucks and other traffic in the area. The one picture that Richard put up there about where the crushed pile is kind of deceiving. It looks like it's much far, the actual pile will be much farther to the west. The colored picture you had, Richard. The neck, right there, where your crushing pile there is, that's actually right inside the gate of on 481st Avenue. The crushing pile will be almost even farther, closer to that other arrow. But of course, that arrow is on the mile line, but it's going to be back about where it looks like it starts to drop off there along this. The original pile will be there. But as we mine farther, of course, the pile will move.
Are there any other questions from members of the board? Seeing none, I will now open the public portion of the hearing. Is there anybody in the audience or on the phone that is for this?
Is there anybody on the telephone that would like to speak in favor of this motion?
This is Mary Bound, and I'd like to just add or clarify my emails that I sent. So one of the concerns we have is, yes, there's only supposed to be one entrance and exit to the pit, and that's for everything, including the mining, crushing, excavating equipment, graveling of the townships and everything. But on the staff report, it shows that there's a pasture entrance on 481st. We're just wanting to make sure that this was just to show the board where the pit area was and that this is not actually going to be an entrance or exit to the pit. We just want the board to know that the Alton Township meeting 2 months ago that we did create an addendum and approved this one to the already existing road permit, that all traffic from the pit needs to go north from that one exit entrance, that there needs to be some cement barricades as well as some guardrail, so trucks cannot turn south out of that pit. I know you're thinking this is just a township pit owner agreement and it really shouldn't involve you, but at the very first meeting, one of the things that was requested was road agreements from both townships, and I just felt it's really important to know that there is an addendum being added to our township road agreement, so in case any issues arise or violations, and we come to the zoning board for that reason, you're going to know why.
Okay, I assume you were opposing that then? We were still on the...
This was for the proponents, Mary, excuse me, and I did update the staff report as I showed this evening from the one that was first online. I removed those two pictures to eliminate any confusion on there.
Okay, thank you.
That was just a picture showing where the area was, not designated that it was a access road or an exit road. It was a picture from the very first one, and that was brought forward to this meeting just to show the area where it was at. It was not intended to show the exit or the exit to the property.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other proponents? Seeing none. Hold on. Step up, Tom.
Tom Sturzinger. Didn't know if I was supposed to talk right now. I'm the crushing operator.
Okay.
Crushing is what this is all about, not about traffic. That's already been passed. But the process that I do is I move in, separate the material, strip the ground, separate the material, make several different piles. This process usually takes 3 to 4 weeks, maybe 5, depending on how much material is needed. As far as dust and noise, we're back 1,000, 1,500 feet. So there shouldn't be a problem as far as that is concerned. I have gotten the permits from the state of South Dakota, the mining permit from Pierre. That is in place as of, I believe, May 24th. But the process I'm doing is no different than what Lyle Bowes does in DePray's pit. Processes, hauls it out, and his customer base is over 5,000 trucks per year. And I used to crush at Dale Bounds pit, and I was close to a roadway, County Road 25, I believe, Bush and Eltar. Approximately, probably the same distance, if not closer. Never had any problem as far as any complaints as well. And his customer base is 2,000 plus trucks per year presently. But there is one thing I do need to bring up. In the event of a serious emergency and I need to call 911, I need to get emergency vehicles in from wherever they're dispatched from. I don't know if it'll be from the north, from the south. So they'll use a GPS signal to come to that location. And right now, Tom was diligent enough to put in a 45, so all heavy traffic has to go to the north. But if an emergency vehicle comes in from the south and tries to turn, there's no way that he can get. He'd have to drive another additional mile up, turn around, come back. And in the event that it's a life-threatening injury where an artery is severed, time matters. So I need access from the south and from the north for emergency vehicles. Not asking for a haul route, just emergency vehicles. In the event of emergency, God forbid, I need access so they can get in and help me.
Is there anybody else for this? Seeing and hearing none. People opposed to this? Please clearly state your name when you sit down.
My name's Aaron Bowen. We live along County Road 25. I just want you guys to be aware that road is super busy already. In the last 45 days, we've had 4 accidents on that road, one just the other day. So let's add more trucks. The shoulders of the road are narrow. Tom's talking about safety in and out. I mean, what about the safety on that road? That's where all the trucks are going to go. I mean, that's what we worry about. The reason Alton Township, we had a special meeting to put those barricades in place, so there's absolutely zero way that any truck can make that turn. I understand that safety is a big problem in that pit. That's not your guys' problem. It states there. You're worried that that's not your problem. I just worry about having 4 accidents on County Road 25 already in the last 30 days, and we're going to add more traffic.
Is there anybody else in the audience opposed to this or on the phone?
This is Mary Bound, and talking with the South Dakota Department of Transportation, the DOT, he told me as long as there's appropriate signage, and this is a civil engineer, a retired civil engineer, he said as long as there's appropriate signage, it shouldn't make a difference about emergency vehicles because they should be notified ahead of time that there is no way to get in if that's the case. So I don't see that being an issue either, and I see safety being an issue on other roads, as my husband just stated, if we allow things to go south.
Is there any other comments opposing this? Seeing none, I will now close the public portion of the hearing and move to the board for the discussion. Is there any comments or questions from members of the board?
Mr. Chairman, just a couple of comments. One on the access for emergency vehicles. One of the things you can do to make sure that that's not an issue is you notify dispatch, 911 dispatch of your location and any emergency necessary. It's no different than 3M has a access plan to their property for emergency vehicles. Daktronics has an emergency plan for vehicles and where people will be. So you have to notify dispatch that you've got an operation and if there's an issue, how to access the property. So dispatch and 911 will take care of White, Brookings, and most emergency vehicles. So I think you can manage that with that as far as access into the property. Your haul agreement, you could try and make some other kind of emergency entrance and keep it blocked and open it for that purpose, but I think that's probably not feasible to make another south entrance that's blocked off and gated or something, unless you have an emergency, you have to unlock it, but something that could be worked out, I guess. If you don't have that access, are you not going to do the crushing operation? Is that a game changer for you?
Could you come up to the microphone, please?
All traffic will go out to the north. And that's the reason why Tom put a 45-degree angle engineered, so they can't come around that.
I understand the process to notify 911 of that access was.
I'll have to learn it.
Yeah.
I haven't done that, no, before.
You would want to do that.
On the 911 deal, the sooner the better. I know the fire department that I'm on, we struggle with the Lake Oakwood area. We get hard time finding places, so the sooner that they can have it down, get it caught up on Google Maps, because we have an app that leads us there. And Google Maps currently takes us en route to where we're supposed to go. But Google Maps struggles in Lake Oakwood. So the sooner we can get this on file with them, the better. Is there any other additional comments or questions from members of the board? Seeing and hearing none, Richard, would you read the findings of the facts?
We'll read the first one here, and then after that, we'll just go through the highlighted areas, but we'll read this one in its entirely. Brookings County Zoning Commission, Brookings County Zoning Conditional Use Permit number 2020 CU002, which should be 17, excuse me. Application for conditional use having been filed with the Brookings County Zoning Commission, acting as the Brookings County Board of Adjustment, a copy of the application being attached here too. Such application being made by Thomas A. Davis regarding the following real property: the east half of the northeast 1/4, the southeast 1/4 of the northeast 1/4, the southeast 1/4 of the northwest 1/4 of Section 4, Township 110 North, Range 48 West, Alton Township. After due notice of public hearing have been held in the application on the first day of September 2020. Number 1, the Brookings County Zoning Commission hereby finding that it is empowered to grant such a conditional use under the following sections of the Brookings County Zoning Ordinance. Article 11, Section 11.01A, Agricultural District. Conditional use number 5A. On further finding that granting such a conditional use will not adversely affect the public interest. Number 2, Brookings County Zoning Commission further finds and certifies that the following rules, specifically the conditional use, have been compelled with. None stated. Number 3, the Brookings County Zoning Commission further finds that satisfactory provisions and arrangements have been made concerning the following are applicable. A, entrance and exit to the property and proposed structures thereon, with particular reference to automotive and pedestrian safety, convenience, traffic flow, control, and access in case of fire or catastrophe. Entrance and exit to the crushing area will be off 480th Avenue, a half mile of Alton Township Gravel Road, and 1 mile of Sherman Township Gravel Road to Brookings County Gravel Road number 8, which is 207th Street. B, off-street parking and loading areas as where required, with particular attention to the items in A above and concern with the economic, noise, glare, and other effects of the special conditional use on adjoining properties and properties in generally the district requirements. No parking or of equipment or storage of fuel or oil in the mining area. Separate parking lot and storage area for the fuel, oil, and equipment with containment to be 300 feet away from the mined or actively mined areas. C, utilities, refuge, and service areas with reference to locations, availability, and compatibility. Dumpster service required for garbage disposal. D, screening, buffering with reference to type, dimensions, and character. Berm and silt fence along the waterway, creek, and the crushing area. E, signs, if any, and proposed exterior lighting with reference to glare, traffic safety, economic effect, compatibility, and harmony of the properties in the district. 32 square foot sign allowed in any required safety signs. F, required yards and other open spaces. spraying of weeds before they go to seed, monitor weed growth and weed control by spraying, mowing, or tilling by permit holder or designated professional sprayer service. G, general compatibility with adjacent properties and other property in the same district. Comprehensive plan met for the agricultural district. H, roads providing access to the property are adequate to meet the transportation demands of the proposed conditional use. The Board of Adjustment may require the applicant to enter in a written contract of any affected township or other governmental unit regarding the upgrading or continued maintenance of any roads or the conditional use requested prior to the issuance of the conditional use. Number 1, the designated haul route. And number 2, road agreements with Alton and Sherman Townships. Letter I, any required notifications to the law enforcement or fire department. None stated. Any safety inspections required. None stated. Number 4, the Brookings County Zoning Commission further determines and conditions this conditional use permit upon the following additional special conditions or safeguards. A, setbacks. Crushing to be 50 feet from the setback from property lines. Number 2, 100 feet from any public right-of-way. Number 3, 200 feet from any residence. B, dust control such as magnesium chloride or like products in the driveway, entrance, exit, loading areas in front of any residence or farm along the haul route as needed. Letter C, hours of operation from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 12 p.m., Saturday. D, road agreements with Alton and Sherman Townships. E, trucks entering, trucks hauling, road signs on the haul route. Reclamation plan on file with the Brookings County Development Office. H, entrance gate to be padlocked. Letter I, South Dakota Department Environment Natural Resources mining permit required on file with the Brookings County Development Office. Letter J, Conditional use permit is good for your 3 years, expires September 1st, 2050. Sorry about that for the delay. Brookings County Zoning Commission, by at least 2/3 vote of its full membership, hereby grants the above petitioner conditional use for the above described real property as follows. Conditional use number 5A, rock crusher. This conditional use permit is specifically conditioned upon initial and continued compliance with all the requirements in 3 and 4 above, and compliance with all applicable provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. I just thought of one thing that I did not put in here, which would be letter K. No product will be allowed to be brought in to crushed. Added letter K, no products allowed to be hauled in to crush, only material mined on site. Okay, back down to the Brookings. If approved, this conditional use permit is specifically conditioned upon initial and continued compliance with all the requirements and conditions in 3 and 4 above, on compliance with all applicable provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. The Brookings County zoning director is or is not approved to authorize any required building permits for construction consistent with the requirements of this conditional use permit. If this conditional use permit is not used within 3 years of the date granted, it shall be invalid, dated this first day of September 2020.
Richard, I got a question on item J. Since it was already passed for the mining permit, does that expiration date have to match the expiration date on the other permit? Does not have to. Okay.
No, it's from the date of the application, but if that's what you would like, we could.
Just asking on the technicality side of
Yep.
things.
Mr. Mueller, do you have any comment on that?
No, I agree. I think you hit that right on the head, Richard. Thank you.
Any additions to the findings of facts? Seeing none. Richard, would you call the vote?
Erickson,
Aye.
Bartley,
Aye.
Mike McHugh,
Aye.
Darrell Kleinjohn,
Aye.
Kyle Vanderwall,
Aye.
Terrell Spence, Randy Jensen,
Yes.
Chad Ford.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Agenda item 2020 CU 018. Dylan Ringling has made an application 2020 CU 018 to the Brookings County Board of Adjustment for a conditional use Article 11, Section 11.01A Agricultural District Conditional Use Permit Number 20, Home Extended Business. The property is described as the southeast 1/4 of Section 16, Township 110 North, Range 51W, Volga Township, located at 21095 463rd Avenue, Volga, South Dakota 57071. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Davis,
Second.
second by Vanderwall. Richard, would you read the staff report?
Yes. 1 second. Yes, 2020 CU 018, Dylan Ringling has applied for conditional use for an extended home business for an event center to be able to host, but not limited to weddings, anniversaries, reunions, corporate retreats, graduations, etc. at his residence located at 21095 463rd Avenue, Volga, South Dakota, which is just north of the intersection of US Highway 14 and 463rd Avenue. The building site is 10 acres, consisting of the residence, the winery building, a storage shed, and a proposed new event center, 64 by 120 feet for a 3-season events hall to be constructed in 2 to 3 years. Till that time of the event center construction, the applicant plans to use a 40 by 120 tent to host events such as was stated, weddings, anniversaries, reunions, retreats, and graduations. The tent will be used in the spring, summer, and fall, until the permanent structure could be built. The applicant has a South Dakota Farm and Malt Beverage license that was approved by Brookings County and issued by the South Dakota Department of Revenue, which allows them to serve malted beverages and wines, but no hard liquor. The applicant's business plans was attached, which includes emergency plans, dust control, South Dakota Department of Environmental Natural Resources recommendations, South Dakota Department of Health recommendations, parking, security. There will be no overnight lodging of the guests while visiting well there. And the hours of the operation will be from 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. with setup starting at 8 a.m. the day of the event, and alcohol sales ending at 12 a.m., cleanup and closing at 1 a.m. Public notices were published in the Brookings Register on August 18th and 25th, 2020, and the Volga Tribune on August 20th and 27th. Letters were sent to the adjoining landowners, the Volga Township Chairman and Clerk,
Exposed.
South Dakota Department of Transportation. Here's his conditional use application. His business plan here. This is his presentation that he has online, and we'll just go over it just quickly, just a brief area view looking from the southwest towards the property. This is his site plan looking above. This is where the proposed event center would be. This is the driveway going in off 463rd Avenue. This is US Highway 14. Just as revenue and impact for the hotels, restaurants, and entertainment, local businesses. his business plan, working with a photographer and a wedding planner service. Proposed building, what the building would look like, which would be attached to the west side of the existing building. This would be west right here. This would be north. That would be the south side. Is layout of the building, floor plan, main floor, storage room to the east side, steps going up to the groom suite and storage there. This, I believe, will be off to one of the sides, or below that area under the main event hall. Proposed concept, this would be the east end here, this would be the west end, looking towards the north, the east side over the lean-to right here. Proposed windows and windows on top, covered entry. This would be the north side. This would be the edge of the existing building, be located right there. This is where the proposed building would be attached, and event center would be construction next to the existing building right there. Parking would be in this area, overflow down in this area, along with they have arrangements with the adjoining landowner to use that area for parking, using the standard model for so many square feet for parking a vehicle and number of occupants per vehicle to arrive at their maximum capacity. This is the US Highway 14 and 463rd right here. This is the railroad tracks going through Volga. This is the property right here, just a quarter mile or less than that from US Highway 14 right here. So access to a main highway. And this is just looking in on 463rd, looking into the driveway on to the vineyard. This is looking north from the driveway. Clear vision that way. This is looking south. There's a little bit of a knoll right here, but for the most part, you can see down through that. This is looking from the west, looking east. This is the 120 feet. This would be the end of the proposed structure, roughly, on the pad of gravel there, starting to get that area ready. This would be the proposed event center here. This is another area where the event center would be, where the proposed gravel is. Where my wheel is right there would be the south edge of the proposed building, just on the north of the overhead garage door. Just looking towards the northwest, towards the parking, and west towards the parking areas. Here, the overflow parking would be down behind these trees and on the other side of the vineyard right here. And this is the residence that is on site, which would be directly north of the event center. And this is his winery building that he currently uses and serves wine out of. And that's all that I have.
Thank you. Would the applicant come forward if he's here? Please state your name clearly into the mic. Is there anything you'd like to add to what Richard?
We presented a really similar presentation last.
There you go. You good? No.
Don't press it. There we go.
It's on.
Last year we presented something really similar to this. The main change being Jim was the previous owner. I recently bought him out. After that passed, so we went ahead and we made the changes, and then we actually moved the building. It's a very similar building layout to what we had before, nearly the same plan, and then we just tied it into an existing structure.
Okay. Any questions from members of the board?
On your overflow parking, that's awfully close to the highway. Is there any plans that you have for keeping people from driving up onto the highway at midnight?
Yeah, we're gonna have, it's gonna be staked out there with chain link, or not chain link, it'll be metal posts with chains between them, all out of the right of way.
Any other questions from members of the board? Seeing none. Was there? Seeing none, I'll open the public portion of the hearing. Is there anybody in the audience that is for this? Seeing none, is there anybody in the audience that is against this or on the phone? Seeing none, I will close the public portion of the hearing. there any additional comments or questions from members of the board? Hearing none, Richard, would you go through the findings of the facts?
Yes, this I'll just read the highlighted areas. I won't read the whole document. Brookings County Zoning Conditional Use Permit 2020 CU 020, an application on the conditional use permit having been acting as a Brookings County Board of Adjustment, a copy of the application being attached here too. Such application being made by Dylan Ringling regarding the following real property: the southeast, and the southeast 1/4 of Section 16, Township 110 North, Range 51 West, Volga Township. After due notice, a public hearing have been held on the application on the first day of September 2020. Number one, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further finds that it is empowered to grant such a conditional use under the following sections of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. Brookings County zoning ordinance, Article 11, Section 11.01, A, Agricultural District, conditional use number 20, home extended business. Further finding that the granting of the conditional use will not adversely affect the public interest. Number two, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further finds and certifies that the following specific rules governing the conditional use requested have been complied with. None stated. Number three, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further finds that satisfactory provisions and arrangements have been made regarding the concerning where applicable. A, entrance and exit will use the existing driveway off 463rd Avenue, maintain a 24-foot fire lane for access in the event of, to the event center in case of emergency. B, no on-street parking allowed. Use on-site parking. C, must use a trash service. D, screening and buffering, none stated. E, signs, 32 square foot sign allowed. Install stop sign at the end of the driveway. F, required yards and other open spaces, none stated. G, general compatibility and adjacent properties in the same district requirements. Comprehensive plan met for the agricultural district. Number four, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further determines and condition this conditional use upon the following additional special conditions or safeguards. Number one, South Dakota Department of Environment and Natural Resources approved design and capacity for the septic system. Number two, the South Dakota Department of Health inspection and license required if food will be prepared and served on site. Number three, adequate number of restroom facilities and trash receptacles for the people attending the events. Number four, no lodging of overnight guests. Number five, any sale or consumption of alcoholic beverages must be in compliance with all local ordinances and state laws. Number six, host only social events as noted in the designated areas on the site plan. Any other use is prohibited without proper permits. Number seven, maximum attendance of 500 at one time per events with 250 attendants or more. Notify the Brookings County Sheriff's Office 24 hours in advance of the event being held. Number eight, if the applicant sells the property and the new owner will need to live on the site and apply for conditional use for a home extended business to continue the operation. Road agreement with Volga Township. Dust control as needed. Brookings County Board of Adjustment, by at least 2/3 vote of its full membership, hereby grants the above petitioner a conditional use permit for the above described real property as follows. Conditional use number 20, home extended business, to host events, but not limited to weddings, graduations, corporate retreats, birthday parties, anniversaries, in areas as noted in the site plan and within their facility. This conditional use is specifically conditioned upon initial and continued compliance and conditions in 3 and 4 above. Compliance with all applicable provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. The Brookings County zoning director is or is not authorized to issue any required building permits required for the construction consistent with the requirements of this conditional use permit. If this conditional use permit is not filed within 3 years of the date granted, it shall be invalid, dated this first day of September 2020.
Any additions to that? Seeing none, Richard, would you call vote?
Randy Jensen,
Yes.
Roger Erickson,
Aye.
Mike Bartley,
Aye.
Mike McHugh,
Aye.
Tom Davis,
Aye.
Daryl Kleinjohn,
Aye.
Kyle Vanderwall,
Aye.
Terrell Spence. Chad Ford.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Agenda item 2020 variance 011. Dave Vanderwall's made an application 2020 variance 011 to the Brookings County Board of Adjustment for a variance Article 11, Section 11.01A, Agriculture District, Area Regulation, Number 2, front yard minimum depth of the front yard shall be 100 feet. A corner lot will have 2 front yards. The property is described as the northwest 1/4, northwest 1/4, northwest 1/4 of Section 14 Township 110 North, Range 51W, Volga Township, located at 1206 North Samara Avenue, Volga, South Dakota, 57071. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Kleinjohn,
Second?
second by Bartley. Richard, would you read the staff report?
Yes. Mr. Vanderwall removed himself from the board, and Mr. Dietrich has replaced himself, took his place on the board for this agenda item. Mr. Vanderwall, are you on the phone? Okay, we'll do my staff.
Yes, we're here.
Okay, I'll do my staff report, then we'll ask you for questions at that time in just a couple seconds here. Thank you. All right, 2020 variance 011. Dave Vanderwall has applied for variance to move in a used residence to be 120 feet from the center of Samara Avenue, which is 464th Avenue, a variance of 30 feet. The required setback is 150 feet from the center of the road. The existing house is becoming structurally unsound and will be removed. The existing house currently is 111 feet from the center of the road. The proposed used structure will be 120 feet from the center of the road, 9 feet farther back than the current structure. The applicant has a well that is actively being used that is preventing him from meeting the required setbacks. The used house is being moved off of another property that they own located at 730 North Samara Avenue, which is about a half a mile to the south of this current location. And that lot will be used for feed and machinery storage once the house is removed. The applicant has all the adjoining landowners' signatures as required by the Brookings County zoning ordinance to move in a used house onto his property. There's some things to consider are the shape and the size of the farmyard, the existing well. Public notices were published in the Brookings Register on August 18th and 25th, 2020, and the Volga Tribune on August 20th and 27th. Letters were sent to the adjoining landowners, the Volga Township Chairman and Clerk. And here is the applicant's variance request. This is site plan. Roughly, this is 210th Street to the north. This is North Samara Avenue. This is the current house right here. It's hard to get a definite setback, but it would be no further to the west than this 120. It will probably be farther back to the east because the house is L-shaped and it's hard to determine where that point is going to actually end of the house is going to be when the existing house is there once the basement and stuff is dug. Here is the existing well just off to the northeast corner, which would be about 10 to 15 feet from the corner of the proposed existing house. Here's the beacon map showing the current distance. The new house I'll show you in just a minute here. We went 120 feet, which is about right over the peak of the house. Right here is where that corner would be. Here's the existing well right there. Still leaves a little bit of room to get into this garage right here. And this is the house that they will be moving in. This existing garage will be removed off of this house and attached to the existing garage that is on the property right here to make use of that structure, to reuse that structure. And the house is L-shaped. You can't see it. It's on the other side. There's an addition going towards the east here. This is just looking at, I'll get my bearing straight. This is looking north from the driveway, looking north on County Road number 5, 464th Avenue, Samara Avenue. This is looking towards the south, clear vision, clear view either way. This is looking towards the east, the existing house right there, which is 110 feet, 111 feet to that porch. Existing garage, driveway, farm buildings. This is where 120 feet is about right here, just on the edge of that window peak of the house. These two stakes are the corners of the proposed, those two stakes are there and there is where those stakes are located. Just to kind of give you a bearing, so it would, well, those stakes would go back to the east a little bit and back to the north. So from those stakes, the house would jut back this way, right here, and here's the existing well beside near those evergreen trees. And that's all that I have.
And Dave is on the phone?
Yes, Mr. Vanderwall is on the phone.
Dave, do you have anything to add to what Richard said?
No, pretty much he laid it out really well, where the existing garage is and the existing well, which is still being used. We can't get further back. We don't know exactly where the west corner of the house is going to be until we get the other one out of the way. Then we can measure out and lay it out. But I'm sure we would be farther than the 120, but we wanted to make it that way just in case we ended up at that point.
Okay. I will now open the public portion of the hearing. Is there anybody on the phone or in the audience for this? Seeing and hearing none, is there anybody in the audience or on the phone against this? Seeing and hearing none, I will now close the public portion of the hearing and move to the board for additional comments and questions. Seeing and hearing none, Richard, would you read the findings of the facts?
Yes, this one I'll read in its entirety again, like we did with the conditional use, and after that I'll just do the highlighted areas. Brookings County Zoning Variance 2020 VAR 011 application may have been filed with the Brookings County Zoning Commission, acting as a Brookings County Board of Adjustment. Copy of the application being attached here too. Such application being made by Dave Vanderwall regarding the following real property. The northwest 1/4, the northwest 1/4 of the northwest 1/4 of Section 14, Township 110 North, Range 51 West, Volga Township. After due notice, a public hearing having been held on the application on the first day of September 2020. Number 1, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment hereby finding that the strict application of the Brookings County zoning ordinance would produce undue hardship, that such hardship is not shared generally by other properties in the same district, in the same vicinity, and that authorization of such variances will not be of substantial detriment to the adjacent property, and the character of the district will not be changed by granting of the variance, and that the granting of the variance is based on the reasonable, of demonstrable, and exceptional hardship as distinguished from variations for the purpose of convenience, profit, and caprice. Number 2, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further finding that the condition or situation of the property concerned and the intended use of the property is not so general or recurring in nature as to make reasonable, practicable the formulation of a general regulation to be adopted as an amendment to the zoning ordinance. Number 3, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further finding that the written application of the petitioner demonstrates that special conditions and circumstances exist which are peculiar to the land, structure, or buildings in the same district, that literal interpretations of the provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance would deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties in the same district under the terms of the ordinance, that the special conditions or circumstances do not result from the actions of the applicant, and that the granting of the variance requested will not confer on the applicant any special privilege that is denied by the ordinance to other lands, structures, or buildings in the same district. Number 4, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further finding that the reasons set forth in the application justify the granting of the variance, and that the variance as a minimum variance will make possible the reasonable use of the land, building, or structures. That the granting of the variance will be in harmony with the general purpose and the intent of the Brookings County zoning ordinance and will not be injurious to the neighborhood or otherwise detrimental to the public welfare. Number 5, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further determines in the conditions of this variance upon the following special conditions or safeguards. A, the location of the existing well. B, the shape and size of the existing farm site. C, the adjoining landowner's signature on file before a building permit is issued. The Brookings County Board of Adjustment, at least 2/3 vote of its full membership, hereby grants the above petition or variance of the above described real property as follows. Moving a used house 120 feet from the center of North Samara Avenue, AKA Brookings County Blacktop Road number 5, and/or 464th Avenue. This variance is specifically conditioned upon initial and continued compliance with all the conditions and safeguards in 5 above and upon compliance with all applicable provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. The Brookings County zoning director is or is not authorized to issue any required building permits for the construction consistent with the terms of this variance. If this variance is not used within 3 years of the date granted, it shall be invalid. Dated this first day of September 2020.
Any additions to the findings of facts? Seeing none, Richard, would you call a vote?
Mike Bartley,
Aye.
Mike McHugh,
Aye.
Tom Davis,
Aye.
Darrell Kleinjohn,
Aye.
Kyle Vanderwall, excuse me, Terrell Spence, Randy Jensen,
Yes.
Roger Erickson,
Aye.
Spencer Dietrich,
Aye.
Chad Ford.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Agenda item 2020 variance 012. Matthew Lounsbury has made an application 2020 variance 012 to the Brookings County Board of Adjustment for variance Article 4 District Requirements, Chapter 4.03 LP Lake Park District, Section 4.03.03 Density Area and Yard Regulation Minimum Lakefront. The property is described as Lot 10 and West Half Lot of 11, Boardman Beach Addition, and Government Lots 3 and 4 in Section 32, Township 109, North Range 50W, Madera Township, located at 8948 Boardman Beach Road, Volga, South Dakota 57071. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Davis,
Second.
second by Vanderwall.
You need to slow down. I'm not quite that fast.
Sorry.
All right. Whoop. I get the wrong one up here. All right. 2020 variance VAR 012, Matthew Lounsbury has applied for a variance to build a 10 by 23 deck with the support post being, this is going to be adjusted here. He did some design looking at it, and we were first going to go 19 feet. Well, he's moving his support post out to the edge of the deck, which will now make it 17 feet from the highest known water mark, and which would make the variance of 58 feet. He was going to cantilever the support post out, the deck out 2 feet over the support post, but after design and getting a look at it, that's not going to work. So he's asked to move it to 17 feet from the highest known water mark. The size of the deck will stay the same, and the lake park, lakefront requirements are 75 feet from the highest known water mark. The deck will be in line with other structures along the lake, will not obstruct the view. And the deck will meet the side setback of 8 feet from each property line. The cabin was built in 2003. The variance was granted to the previous owner to build the house in its current location. And the house was in the floodplain, and they've got that removed out of there now, so that is no longer an issue for that. They went through the steps to get that removed. So just some things to consider. Bortnum Beach subdivision was platted on June 17th, 1961, and the shape and the size of the lot. And just it meets the development requirements in the Brookings County Comprehensive Plan for the future developments of developed lakes in the future use on page 58. Letters were sent to the adjoining landowners on the Madera Township Chairman and Clerk, and public notices were published in the Brookings Register on August 18th and 25th, 2020, and the Volga Tribune of August 20th and 27th. Here's the applicant's variance application. His site plan, which is, originally had the posts here, now that we moved out to the edge of the 10 feet, which would be 58 feet from the high water mark. This is a beacon map showing the aerial view. This is the proposed deck on the east side of the, the east side of the, southeast side of the property, right there, and this would be, right in here would be the setback of 17 feet. This is the front of the property, looking at it from the road, Borton Beach Road. This was looking at it where the original support post would be, which would be about right here is where the edge of the deck would be. Looking towards the north, you can see the other deck would be right in line. Kind of curves around the angle, so this picture is a little bit deceiving right there. This is looking towards the south. Clear view there. The other structure, the other residence there is back over here. This would be out about 2 feet, about right in that area. This would be from looking for the area of vegetation, terrestrial terrain along there. This is where that, roughly following that around. So it would be 17 feet from this mark back to the edge of the support post. And that's all that I have.
Is the applicant here? Would they come forward? State your name and if you have anything to add to Richard's.
I am Matthew Lounsbury. He explained it pretty well. I'm just trying to put a 10-foot deck on the front of my house for visual and lake access.
Okay. I'll now open the public portion of the hearing. Is there anybody here for this or on the phone? Seeing none, is there anybody here or on the phone against this? Seeing and hearing none, I'll now close the public portion of the hearing. Is there any additional comments or questions from members of the board?
So was there any ever ice problems where the ice could blow up there and bunch up? I mean, I don't know the area very well, but
Truthfully, I just bought it 2-3 months ago. The terrain from the supposed high water mark to the house is quite flat, so there isn't. It's not like I'm trying to build, 4 feet down from the structure. It's perfectly flat from there to the high water mark.
Thank you.
Yes, there's probably a 4-foot elevation difference between the shore and the top of the ridge here where the riprap is. This part of the house is actually a garage was used for boat access, so that structure is lower. And on the other side of, I don't have a picture there, but over about 5 feet to the west of this, then it goes into the house. The bottom, it goes into the garage, and the house, the living quarters are above that. So I don't foresee any ice going up. I'm not saying it never has, but it would take quite a bit to come up there and damage the structure or the house.
Any other additional comments or questions from the board? Hearing none. Richard, would you read the findings of the facts?
Yes, I'll just read the highlighted areas here. Brookings County zoning variance, 2020 VAR 012, application for the variance having been held in the Brookings County Zoning Commission. Acting as a Brookings County Board of Adjustment, copy of the application we attach here too. Such application be made by Matthew Lounsbury regarding the following real property. Lot 10 in the west one half of Lot 11 in Borton Beach Addition. Lot 10 in the west half, got picked up for speeding there. In government's Lots 3 and 4 in Section 32 in Township 109 North, Range 50 West, Madera Township. Well, at least I was consistent, did it the same both places. After due notice, a public hearing having been held on the application of the first day of September 2020. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further determines and conditions this variance upon following special conditions or safeguards. A, shape and the size of the lot. B, Borton Beach Addition was platted on June 17th, 1961. Brookings County Board of Adjustment, by at least 2/3 vote of its full membership, hereby grants the above petitioner a variance for the above described real property as follows. Build a 10-foot by 23 deck with a supporting post 17 feet from the highest known watermark. This variance is specifically conditioned upon initial and continued compliance with all the conditions and safeguards in 5 above, and following all the compliance with all applicable provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. The Brookings County zoning director is or is not authorized to issue any required building permits for the construction consistent with the terms of this variance. If this variance is not used within 3 years of the date granted, it shall be invalid. Dated this first day of September.
Any additions to finding of facts? Richard, would you call roll?
McHugh.
Aye.
Tom Davis.
Aye.
Darrell Kleinjohn.
Aye.
Kyle Vanderwall.
Aye.
Terrell Spence.
Aye.
Randy Jensen.
Yes.
Roger Erickson.
Aye.
Mike Bartley.
Aye.
Chad Ford.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Agenda item 2020 variance 014, Brandon and Chelsea Bach have made an application 2020 variance 014 to the Brookings County Board of Adjustment for a variance Brookings Joint Jurisdiction Area, Article 4, Agricultural, Residential, and Floodplain and Aquifers District, Section 405, Agriculture District A.
We're on, Chad Hacker is the next one, excuse me. Lauren Hacker.
Did I lose that one? Oh, hey. There it is. Sorry. Agenda item 2020 variance 013. Lauren Hacker has made an application 2020 variance 013 to the Brookings County Board of Adjustment for a variance Article 4 District Requirements, Chapter 4.03 LP Lake Park District, Section 4.03.03 Density Area Yard Regulation, Minimum Side Yard. The property is described as Lot 1, Charles Cove Addition in the southwest 1/4 of Section 22, Township 112 North, Range 47W, Lake Hendricks Township, located at 751 East Lake Hendricks Drive, Hendricks, Minnesota 56136. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Vanderwall,
Second.
second by Spence. Would you read the staff report?
Yes, 2020 variance 013. Lauren Hacker has applied for variance to build a 24 by 27 foot garage with a 9-foot sidewall, 4 feet from the side property line, a variance of 4 feet. The required setback is 8 feet from the side property line. The proposed garage will be attached to an existing 20 by 20 existing garage, storage building. Some things to consider: the location of the existing buildings, and Charlie's Cove was platted on April 2nd, 1976. And it meets the comprehensive plan for the planned use development area for future development on page 58. Letters were sent to the adjoining landowners and the Lake Hendricks Township Chairman and Clerk. Public notices were published in the Brookings Register on August 18th and 25th, 2020. Here's the applicant's variance application. His site plan, driveway, this is his existing shed that's there, which is at the 8-foot setback. This is a proposed garage, would be 4 foot from the side property line, 27 feet across, 24 feet deep. Existing building site, parking pad, basketball court there to the east of the building. Utility lines running up the driveway there, septic tank here in the corner. Just shows the proposed, the blue is the existing building structure or garage that is there. The yellow is the existing building, showing how the two would attach to one another there. Come out about 4 feet on the south side and be about 4 feet on the north side also. There, there'll be 2 garage doors facing the south. This would be the peak of the roof here, looking at it from the end view, side view. This is the beacon map looking at the proposed property. It is in the floodplain, so we will have to build it to floodplain standards, or see if we can get the property elevations determined on there and try to get it removed out of there with following the FEMA application. So this is the current building right there, is basketball court, parking pad. This would be the proposed structure he's add on right here. Just a little clearer vision without the floodplain layer being on there. Some photos of the area here. This is looking towards the from the driveway looking in. Like I say, here's the existing structure, the other storage area, parking pad, driveway. This is on the north side of the existing garage right here. This is the setback at 8 feet. This looking towards the west. This is the setback at 4 feet, what he is asking for, looking towards the west. This would be the northwest corner of the building, which would be 27 feet from this structure, looking towards the south there. Kind of heads off on an angle. This is looking back from the south, looking north. The edge of the building will be here in just a second. This would be the 24 feet comes right to about to the corner of this cement pad right here, where he's asking to build the structure at that point. Right there, you can kind of see where it is. Right here, the wheel is at, if he met the 8-foot setback and comes over 24 foot, the width of the garage, this is where the corner of the building would be. It'd be 4 foot farther to the south here, just on the corner of this approach and driveway right there. And that's all that I have. And Mr. Hacker is here this evening.
Would you come forward and state your name?
Lauren Hacker.
Do you have anything to add to Richard's report?
No, it was really comprehensive. The one thing is that the property really is on a hill. And one of the things I like to take care of in this is I've get some water in my shed every spring from the runoff coming from the hardscape from the house and asphalt above it. And as part of the plan on the north wall and on the east side, I'm going to put in, try and put in some drain to pull that water away and run it. There isn't a real good way of getting the water off of that hill, and tends when it melts and when we have a big rain, it actually doesn't go to the ditch, runs across the property on the other side of my shed. So one of the things, a part of this project is to raise the driveway slightly so that the water actually runs back to the ditch and running across property around the house and back in the lake. So it's part of the whole plan, but it has nothing to do with what Richard talked about. I mean, as far as the variance for the garage, it's part of what I like to do with the building.
Are there any questions from members of the board? Hearing none, I will close the public portion of the hearing. I will close that, open the public portion of the hearing. Is there anybody in the audience or on the phone for this? Hearing none. Is there anybody in the audience or on the phone against this? Okay, I will now close the public portion of the hearing. Is there any additional comments or questions from members of the board? Luke, do you have any thoughts on this?
Thank you, Chair. I guess nothing more than I would normally be involved in any variance. I think the main thing to keep in mind, as always with every variance, is whether or not the applicant's asking for anything special that any other landowner would get in that district, and whether or not the conditions on this lot are different than, say, another lot, which would allow this applicant the ability to do something someone else may not be able to. And then lastly, if you're allowing any sort of a special privilege this applicant wouldn't be allowed to have. So those are the things to keep in mind with this one, as with every other application. And I guess I would ask, I don't recall, Richard, you probably noted, how wide is this lot actually? At least at the front yard or where the structure is going to be built.
Yes, I believe it's 60 feet wide by 250, I believe. Yeah, 60 feet wide by 250. We have 32, about 28 feet to the south of with the 4-foot setback. That will leave about 28 feet between the edge of the proposed structure and his side, the south property line.
Is there any other place on the property where this structure could go?
Well, you can see in the lower right-hand corner there is you have the pedestals there and the real water in that. So there's about 30-foot setback from that, if I understand that right. Back the basketball court. John Kula was the person that I asked about building over the top of the basketball court, and he said you'll have to rip it up because it's not thick enough to hold vehicles. And actually, that court is actually 2 feet lower, well, maybe 18 inches lower than the existing floor of the shed there. That is really a shed, garden shed. There isn't. I can't get a vehicle into it.
So if you don't rip up the basketball court, you're still going to have water running into your garden shed, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm still going to have water running in my garden shed. Yeah, that's part of what I want to try and alleviate. You know, I've talked to both neighbors, but the neighbor to the south one I talked about raising it's a shared driveway, of raising the driveway and getting the water to run, instead of running, really it runs really over the corner of the basketball court and south, really to that other ditch across the property, then rather than running out to the road ditch and then back down that ditch. It's how it's designed to run, but it doesn't run that way because this comes off the corner of that property and runs over land. But it hasn't washed anything, I can say that, as far as doing anything, but it's wet there. I'm trying to move the wetness away, and that's part of why I want to do the tiling on the north wall and the east wall. And then that the water would come out and empty into the ditch that would be created when we raised that driveway. And then it would run out to the road ditch.
I guess I'm struggling to see what your hardship is with putting the garage there instead of where the basketball court is.
Well, you want me? My hardship is I've got to tear up the cement and do that. It's still. One of the things when I applied for the variance, it said existing buildings. Well, that shed's an existing building, and I still have to ask for a variance if I'm going to cover that shed roof, if I'm going to build on that other side. We're talking about the east side, where that is. That is that basketball court's sitting around the 8-foot setback. So if I'm going to build there, okay, then I'll have to tear out the cement, raise it 2 feet to match up to the shed. Do you see what I'm saying about what's got to happen? And then if I'm going to match up to the shed, I still have to ask for a variance on that side because the shed is sitting right at 8 feet.
Yeah, the distance is measured to the wall, not to the overhang or the roof.
No, I know.
Right. And then the setback from the road or your front property line would be 25 feet
Right.
from that.
You're getting the water from the house that's in the top of the picture?
Yeah, it's coming down the hill, you know. But, you know, there was a lot of snow early, a lot of snowbanks, so I mean, I can't tell you whether the last 2 years have been real typical. Honestly, 2 years ago was really atypical, so, but that's part of that. It's just about covering the shed roof with the new roof so that the water runs off when you put them together. Shed, you know, it looks bigger than really what its purpose is. There's actually a 4-foot door to get to the mower out. You can see it there on that. And then there's a ramp from that door down. Like I said, from where the fish house sits, it's about 18 inches up to the sill. So,
So the water that you're getting in that shed comes in on the right-hand side of that?
comes, you know, just comes up into the shed.
Oh.
The concrete's getting worse and worse. It's developing cracks, and you know, that water is just how water can work on things on there. And that was, you know, part of what I like to do is to try and alleviate some of that water that's coming from the newer construction and this existing garage. And that's something when I talked to Ben Gates, that he was in favor of trying to move some of that water because it's not quite right how we try to get it running. So. If that garage is, you know, that's the hardship of tearing that up and then still having to come back and ask for a variance because can't attach it to that garage. I mean, to the shed, you know, and that's part of the reason.
You're going to attach the garage on the lake side of the shed.
On the lake side of the shed, yes.
Okay. Is there a problem? I mean, we all like the most storage we can ever get, but the size of the garage could be smaller and meet the setbacks, still be attached to the shed on the south side. How much smaller would the garage have to be?
Part of it then is it takes away from the other garage as I move it onto that pad. As we move that 4 feet back on the existing pad there for the other garage. That garage is very small. Has a 10-foot door. One side wall is about 6 inches. The other one's 2. And I'm not sure the previous owner how big he was or the car was. I have a enclave, and when I try to get out of that vehicle in that garage, it's not.
What's the size of the garage again?
It's the size of the shed.
Proposed garage.
The proposed one.
The proposed garage is 24 by 27.
So 27 is the north-south measurement.
Yep.
Yes.
And if it were located in the right-of-way and you basically left the front of the garage where it is on the south, you'd lose how many feet? 3 feet of the garage?
Well,
24 by 24?
If I would move it south, it would be a 20, the garage would only be 20 feet deep. Is that what you're asking me? Or if I move it?
It's an 8-foot setback, and we're going to try and move it to 4-foot setback, is that correct? We'd have to move 4 foot off the construction of the garage, so it becomes 24 by 20.
He would lose 81 square feet out of the garage.
So it makes the garage smaller, but it's then 24 by 20.
24 by 20 meets the setback.
It's the setbacks if it's 24 by 20.
Yes. No, if it's 27 by 20. Because he needs to shorten it up 4 feet.
Right. Shorten it up 4 feet on the backside. Right.
And how far out does it come across your front garage?
Uh,
Can you pull that?
what the
That would be at
proposed,
the corner of the garage.
it's
Cement.
it's in line with the,
It's in line with the current cement.
with the current shed. Yeah,
Right here, this picture is where the variance is that he's asking for, at the corner of the pad. And this one down here is if he kept it at the 8-foot setback, made it 24 feet wide, then this is where the edge of the building would be right here. So basically from here,
27-foot measurement.
27 foot is
wide.
east and west. 24 is north, and 24 is north and south.
So we're still keeping the width of it at 27.
Yep.
And your garage doors would be on south
south
side.
side.
You'd have wider, just not as deep a garage if it was 20.
Would you be opposed to giving up 3 feet, having 1 foot overhang on the south side and meet your setback on the north?
I'll have to take a look at it. You know, it's one of those things that I haven't talked to the, you know, I want to make sure there's enough room for the person to construct that roof over the top of the other. We have to cut one roof, you know, to butt the building up next to the other one. Do you see what I'm saying?
I understand.
You know?
I
And
don't think changing it to 24 would affect that. But, or changing it to 20 from 24. But a 20-foot long garage, a normal sized car just barely fits.
That's why I'm asking.
You have less than a foot
That's why I'm
in front
asking.
and back put together. And a extended cab pickup won't fit at all.
No, that's why I'm asking for 24 feet. It's not a very wide garage even at 24 feet. That's, it's the nature of the narrowness of the lot is what it is. And it's existing structures on the lot. And those are, when I looked at the variance permit, those are two of the reasons why you might grant a variance is because there's an existing structure sitting right on the 8-foot setback. And then the other thing is it's so narrow about limiting that. So, I mean, it's about 35 feet from the, you know, would a garage fit in there? Yeah, I'm guessing, you know, that 24 by 27 out there by the pedestals, you know, it might fit in there, but,
Yeah, this here where the arrow is right now, this is a 25-foot setback from the road that it would need to be, and from the right-of-way of his property line there to the pad, it's 46 feet roughly, 47, and then so the existing structure is 75 feet. And north to south, it would be 60 feet,
What was the distance to the existing pad?
75. To the existing pad was
From where you're at now to the pad?
but maybe I'm wrong.
47 feet.
Maybe I'm wrong. I thought there had to be a 30-foot setback from rural water. There isn't? Oh, okay. I
No.
can't remember where I read that.
Depending where your easement is, if you have an easement coming across here, you can't encroach on that, but the setback for a lakefront property is 25 feet from the road.
Right. I was just going from where the rural water connection was, and I'm not sure where I read that at all.
Yep, just depending on where their easement, usually it's a 10-foot easement on either side of the line of their easement down there,
Gotcha.
but I don't know where the supply line comes here. I just know you had your incoming line, service line coming on the south side of the
Right.
driveway here,
Right.
so.
It does.
It looks to me like to fix your problem right, you need to remove the shed that's there and just build something different.
I understand what you're saying, but that's the reason why, you know, when I looked at documents that are there, it says there's an existing structure.
Mhm.
And that's the reason why you can consider a variance. So that's why I'm here.
Mhm. But if you built a different building in there, you could probably make the building wider to the east and narrower to the west and get it all to fit in there. And then raise the whole thing up about 2 feet while you're at it and solve all your water problems.
That probably would be it, but I'm thinking your solution is a little bit more expensive than the
Cost more,
24 by
yep.
27 garage. But I mean,
Yep.
I get that. That's why I'm here.
Cost is not a consideration for a variance. Cost is not supposed to be a consideration for variance.
It's not, it's about the existing structure and the narrowness of the lot. Those are the two things in my application. And that's what led me to, you know, apply for the variance is what, you know.
Is there any other additional comments or questions from members of the board?
What did your neighbor have to say about going closer to the property line?
He just said, I'll think about it. I talked to him again. I said, you're getting the letter. We visited about it, and he didn't say anything negative at all. Where the garage is and where his asphalt is, you know, it's about 12 feet higher.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
You can see there's a big hill coming down from his side.
It's a hill coming down. It's, I don't think I'd be depriving him of any use of his property because it's, you know, I'm trying to, you know, take something there that this steep hill that's relatively difficult to park on and flatten it out and make a garage. So that's part of the reason too, you know, improving the property. But, you know, I'm trying to solve 3 or 4 things at once. But I get out, you know, when you look at what you've done in the past with other people. I understand that. I just want you to understand that I was led to this process by the documents that are out there and the application. Say, well, you've got a narrow lot or you've got an existing building, you might consider a variance. And those are the 2 things that have driven me to, you know, wanting to place the garage where it is.
Is there any other additional comments or questions from members of the board? I guess I'm just still having a hard time seeing the hardship. I believe there's other options available. But any other questions, comments? Seeing and hearing none, Richard, would you read the findings of the facts?
Yes, I'll just read the highlighted areas as Brookings County zoning ordinance, various 2020 VAR 013, application for variance have been filed with the Brookings County zoning office. Acting as a Brookings County Board of Adjustment, such application being attached here too by Lauren Hacker regarding the following real property. Lot 1, Charlie's Cove Addition in the southwest 1/4 of Section 22, Township 112 North, Range 47 West, Lake Hendricks Township. After due notice, a public hearing have been held on the application on the first day of September 2020. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5, Charlie's Cove was platted on April 2nd, 1976, and lay of the land here for Lay of the land slope to the north, slopes to the south. The Brookings County Board of Adjustment, at least 2/3 vote of its full membership, hereby grants the above petitioner a variance for the above described property as follows. Build a 24 by 27 detached garage, 4 foot from the north property line. This variance is specifically conditioned upon initial and continued compliance with all the conditions and safeguards in 5 above, upon applicable provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. The Brookings County zoning director is or is not authorized to issue any required building permits required for construction consistent with the terms of this variance. If this variance is not used within the 3 years of the date granted, it shall be invalid. Dated September 1st, 2020.
Any additions to the findings of facts? Seeing none, Richard, would you call the vote?
Darrell Kleinjohn.
I think because of the shape and the size and the topography, I'm gonna vote aye.
Kyle Vanderwall.
Aye.
Terrell Spence. Aye. Randy Jensen.
Yes.
Roger Erickson.
Aye.
Mike Bartley.
Aye.
Michael McHugh.
Aye.
Tom Davis.
Aye.
Chad Ford.
No.
Motion passes 8-1.
Thank you for your consideration and time.
Agenda item 2020 variance 014, Brandon and Chelsea Deckenecker Bach have made an application 2020 variance 014 to the Brookings County Board of Adjustment for a variance Brookings Joint Jurisdiction Area, Article 4, Agricultural, Residential, and Floodplain and Aquifer Districts, Section 405 Agricultural District A, Section 409.2, front yard minimum depth of the front yard shall be 100 feet from 100 feet in Brookings County zoning ordinance, Article 11, Section 11.01A, Agricultural District Area Regulations, Number 2, front yard. The minimum depth of the front yard shall be 100 feet. A corner lot will have 2 front yards. The property is described as Outlot 1 in the southwest 1/4 of the southeast 1/4 of Section 3, Township 109 North, Range 50W, Madera Township, located at 632 West 32nd Street South, Brookings, South Dakota 57006. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Kleinjohn.
Second.
Second by Vanderwall. Richard, would you read the staff report?
Yes, 2020 variance 014. Brandon and Chelsea Bach have applied for variance to build a residential addition that requires a area of 36 by 36, a resident addition, which would be 107 feet from the center of 32nd Street South, which is the same as 215th Street, I believe. The required setback is 133 feet from the center of the road, 32nd Street, which is a Madera Township road. The property is located within the 3-mile joint jurisdiction area and falls under the city-county ordinance and the setbacks. Things to consider are the shape and the size of the lot. Existing house was built in 1930 prior to the current setbacks, and the property was platted on November 9th, 1972. Public notices were published in the Brookings Register on August 18th and 25th. Letters were sent to the adjoining landowners, and the Madera Township Chairman and Clerk. Here's their application for the variance. This is their site map showing the proposed 36 by 36 addition here coming out from the existing structure. This is a porch that will be removed off of there and added on this kind of an L-shaped addition. It would be 107 feet from the center of 32nd Street South. Shows the Beacon map showing the property here. The first measurement we got off of Beacon, we weren't exactly sure, and when I went out to the site and actually measured it, it was all staked out. It was 107 feet from the center of 32nd Street to the edge of their proposed addition. So, this is just looking in from the driveway towards the addition here. This is looking towards the west from the, or the east, excuse me. This is looking west. kind of hard to see, but right here is my stake, and that is at 107 feet from the center of 32nd Street South here. Should be right there. You can see the stakes, and they've done a little remove the sod off of that. This is looking towards the west from the property, or from the driveway looking towards the west where the proposed addition is. There's stakes here along the side, back around. This is looking from the west, looking towards the east, and that's it's kind of a two-step process. They are also adding onto the north side of their house also. They've had a high water table out there, and they've had some water issues in the basement, so that's why they're adding the two additions to alleviate some water problems that are existing in the basement there. So that is the reason they're asking for the variance, to put on the addition and alleviate some water problems there. So, and that's all that I have.
Is the applicant here on the phone? Step forward.
Yes, the applicant is here this evening.
State your name when you sit down, please.
Brandon Bach.
Do you have anything to add to Richard's staff report?
No, I do not.
Okay. Is there any questions from members of the board? Seeing none, I will open the public portion of the hearing. Is there anybody in the audience or on the phone that is for this? Hearing none, is there anybody in the audience or on the phone that is against this? Hearing none, I will now close the public portion of the hearing. Move to the board for any additional comments or questions. Luke, is there anything in there that we need to be aware of on the joint jurisdiction area?
I believe your staff's made you aware of everything. As far as today, the joint jurisdiction ordinance you've had since 1980 plays into effect here. There's nothing really all that new, or there's nothing that you've been working on over the last few years that's going to affect this any. It would be more the existing ordinance, and I think Richard did a good job of going over that.
Thank you. Is there any other additional comments from members of the board? Seeing none, Richard, would you read the findings of the facts?
Yes, variance 20, Brookings County zoning variance 2020 VAR 014. Application for variance have been filed with the Brookings County Zoning Commission. Acting as the Brookings County Board of Adjustment, copy of the application being attached here too. Such application being made by Brandon and Chelsea Dentnicker Bach regarding the following real property. Outlot 1 in the southwest 1/4 of the southeast 1/4 of Section 3, Township 109 North, Range 50 West, Madarian Township. After due notice of public hearing having been held on the application on this first day of September 2020. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further determines and conditions this variance upon the following special conditions or safeguards. A, shape and size of the existing building site. B, the house was built in 1920. C, the lot was platted on November 9th, 1972. The Brookings County Board of Adjustment, by at least 2/3 vote of its full membership, hereby grants the above petitioner a variance for the above described real property as follows. Build a 36-foot residential addition 107 feet from the center of 32nd Street South, otherwise known as 215th Street. This variance is specifically conditioned upon initial and continued compliance with all the conditions and safeguards in 5 above, upon compliance with all applicable provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. The Brookings County zoning officer is or is not authorized to issue any required building permits for construction consistent with the terms of this variance. If this variance is not used within 3 years of the date granted, it shall be invalid, dated this first day of September.
Any additions to the findings of facts? Hearing none, Richard, would you call a vote?
Kyle Vanderwall,
Aye.
Terrell Spence, Randy Jensen,
Yes.
Roger Erickson,
Aye.
Mike Bartley,
Aye.
Mike McHugh,
Aye.
Tom Davis,
Aye.
Daryl Kleinjohn,
Aye.
Chad Ford.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Agenda item 2020, variance 015. Lisa Bolus has made an application 2020, variance 015 to the Brookings County Board of Adjustment for a variance Article 4 District Requirements, Chapter 4.03 LP Lake Park District, Section 4.03.03 Density Area and Yard Regulation Minimum Side Yard. The property is described as Lot 47 of DeBoer's Lake Tatonka West Subdivision and Government Lots 1, 4, 5, and 6 in Section 7, Township 111, North Range 51W, Oakwood Township, located at 70 Oakwood Shoreline Drive, Bruce, South Dakota 57220. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Vanderwall,
Second.
second by Davis. Richard, would you read the staff report?
Yes. Whoop. I'll need that eventually. All right, 2020, I believe, Lisa, are you still on the phone?
I am.
Thank you. I'll read my staff report here and you can listen along. And 2020 variance 015, Lisa Bolus has applied for variance to build a 16-foot by 32-foot detached garage with a 10-foot sidewall, 2 feet and 5 feet from the side property line, which would be a variance of 6 feet and 3 feet. The required setback is 8 feet from the property line. The proposed garage would be 9 feet from the existing house, and the garage will meet the existing setback, or meet the setback of 25 feet from the road. The north property line kind of runs at an angle. That's why the difference is in the setback. The northeast corner of the proposed garage would be 2 feet from the property line, and the northwest corner would be 5 feet from the property line. So that's where the two different numbers come in at. Things to consider would be the locations of the existing building, of the existing house. DeBoer's Lake Tetonkaha West Subdivision was originally platted in 1984 and then replatted in June of 2003 when the original road was vacated and then relocated. And does meet the comprehensive plan for the future land use development of future lake use. And letters were sent to the adjoining landowners and the Oakwood Township Chairman and Clerk and the Brookings County Highway Department. Public notices were published in the Brookings Register on August 18th and 25th, and the Volga Tribune on August 20th and 27th. Here is the variance application. This is the site plan with north being this way. This is the existing driveway and garage. Existing house, the lake is over here on the east side. Proposed structure will be, I've got another site plan that shows the distance between these two. The existing house and the garage would be about 9 feet. This is where the 2-foot setback would come in at. This is the 5-foot setback. Existing driveway going out to an existing cement pad that is there that would be used as probably an apron or driveway for an approach to the new new proposed structure. Here's the other site plan, a little more detailed dimensions on there. 9 feet between the house and the proposed garage. If approved, it would probably be required to have a firewall between this structure and the house, being it's less than 10 feet. 16 feet wide, 32 feet long. This is where the 5-foot setback would come in at. This is where the 2-foot setback would be here. And it's 21, so it'd be about 9 feet is what it would be set back into the house right here. From the corner of the house is where the corner would be, right there. Shows the proposed lot. Shed was built first, then they built the house onto it and progressed as the years went on, and now they've Want to add a little storage building right out here, 9 feet from the house, 2 feet from this northeast corner, 5 feet from the southwest corner. Proposed area right here. The septic system is located right in this area, right here in the front of the house. This is looking from the road towards the west. This is the parking pad area right there. This is 9 feet from the edge of the house where the edge of the proposed structure would be. Right there, leaving this open spot right here for lake access. This is 2 feet from the north property line, would be right in that area. This is 5 feet. It's kind of hard to tell because the garage is there and I couldn't get behind the garage to take the picture, so I just moved it out to the front. The wheel here would be the northwest corner of the property line at 5 feet. This is a property stake right there, kind of runs back at an angle there. This is where the east edge of the proposed structure would be, right even with this existing small building that is there, that is smaller than 10 by 12, so no building permit was required for that to locate that there. And this would be 32 feet would match up with the edge of the existing garage right here is where that would come to. And this would be, let's see here. Yeah, this would be the southwest corner of the proposed garage, just in past the edge of this parking pad right here. And I believe that's all I have.
And Lisa's on the phone. Do you have anything to add to Richard's report?
No, I think you explained it very well. Thank you.
Okay. That being said, I will open the public portion of the hearing. Is there anybody in the audience or on the phone for this? Is there anybody in the audience or on the phone against this? Seeing none, I will now close the public portion of the hearing. Is there any additional comments or questions from members of the board?
Is there any permanent buildings on the next door neighbor's property that are closer than the allowed 8 feet?
Just her garden shed is there, right along the lot line. I guess that's not probably permanent.
Have you spoken to them? They're okay with building that close to their lot line?
Yeah, she was up about a month ago, 6 weeks ago, and we went through it all with her, and she was completely fine with it and very supportive. Likes what we've done with the place so far.
Yeah, roughly, this is the beacon map. The lines are not to scale, but, you know, this is, their garden shed is back towards east side of the Bolus's house, and the proposed structure will be right in here, so there is no structure adjoining directly to the north of proposed structure, so.
Is there any additional comments or questions?
Lisa, just a question here. I've seen it mentioned a couple different ways on here. Is this a shed or another garage?
It would be like a small garage / shed. So I guess, I don't know for sure what we're going to put in. I guess it'll have a garage door on it.
Is there any plans to connect the shed to the existing house with a covered walkway or anything like that?
Not at this time. That's our only way down to the backyard and to the lake. So we really kind of wanted to keep that open. And we feel aesthetically it would look better separate. We have a nice wide sidewalk there.
Any other comments or questions from members of the board?
Will this building cause any snow problems for the neighbors?
No, it shouldn't. We have a nice big front yard, so the snow like in the front, and that all pretty much goes into our front yard if we clean that parking pad off. So we normally don't do anything over there out of respect for them. Even though they're not year round, we try to respect their boundaries with snow.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, Richard, would you read the findings of the facts?
Yes, Brookings County zoning variance 2020 variance 015, application being filed with the Brookings County Zoning Commission, acting as the Brookings County Board of Adjustment, a copy of the application being attached here too. Such application being made by Lisa Bolas regarding the following real property: Lot 47 of DeBoer's Lake Tetonkaha West Subdivision, in government lots 1, 4, 5, and 6 in Section 7, Township 111 North, Range 51 West, Oakwood Township. After due notice, a public hearing having been held on the application on the first day of September 2020. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further determines in this variance upon the following special conditions or safeguards. DeBoer's Lake Tetonkaha West Subdivision was originally platted in 1984 and replatted in June of 2003 when the original road was vacated and relocated prior to the current Lake Park zoning regulations. The Brookings County Board of Adjustment, by at least 2/3 vote of its full membership, hereby grants the above petition or variance for the above described real property as follows. Build a 16-foot by 32-foot detached garage with the northeast corner of the garage 2 feet from the 2 feet doubled up here. This one was done at the end of the day. Whoop. Two feet from the property line, and the northwest corner of the garage 5 feet from the side property. Whoop. Okay, build a 16-foot by 32-foot detached garage with the northeast corner of the garage being 2 feet from the side property line and the northwest corner of the garage 5 feet from the side property line. This variance is specifically conditioned upon initial to continued compliance with all conditions and safeguards in 5 above, on compliance with all applicable provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. Brookings County zoning director is or is not approved to issue any required building permits consistent with the construction for consistent with the terms of this variance. This variance is not used within 3 years of the date granted. It shall be invalid. Dated this first day of September 2020.
Mr. Chair and Richard, this is Luke Muller here on the phone. Could I speak for just a moment?
Yes.
The only thing I wanted to add, maybe 2 things, maybe one. Richard had pointed out something about a condition to have a firewall on the side of the house.
Thank you.
I was just curious if that was a condition that needed to be added. And then secondarily, if that is the case, I would recommend doing the same thing on the northwest side as well. Since this lot is wider than any lot of any of its neighbors, I would assume that there'd be no reason to deny any neighboring variance as well, should that come in. So you're going to want to have a firewall on the neighboring side as well if they decide to replace their shed with a similar structure. So you may want to have a firewall on both sides.
Thank you.
I wanted to make a comment. I don't know whether we have the jurisdiction or not, but I was wondering about requiring downspouts on the lot line side so that we don't create a water issue for the neighbors with all the water running off half of the roof onto their property. but maybe the topography is okay there.
Yeah, that's one thing we have never required to, as far as drainage or anything off the neighboring lots for that. Water runs down and runs downhill, runs to the natural drainage area. And so, but we have required in instances like this to have a firewall required on the sides. You might want to do two sides. You might want to consider the whole building, two sides and the ends, or fire break in the ceiling. We do like that. And so, could fireproof the building with sidewalls and ceiling sheetrock installed. Being that close. So
I think we should require a firewall throughout the whole building just for its location due to the lot line. Anybody else agree, disagree with that?
And as close to the house as it is.
Yep.
I'll put in their firewall installed on sidewalls and ceiling.
And Mr. Chairman, if I may, the drainage issue, if it becomes a drainage issue where water is being put on a neighbor's property, that would become a civil matter. And
Thank you.
civil courts do not like people dumping water on their neighbors unnecessarily.
Firewall installed on all sidewalls and ceiling. I'll just put in there as per fire code. Or building code, I guess I should say. I could put.
Any other additions to the findings?
Lisa, are you still on the line? Do you understand that?
I am.
Okay, that you will have to install a firewall in there and all
Yep.
sidewalls in the ceiling of the building on that, being the closeness to your house and the closeness that it could be to your neighbor's property should they decide to build in the future over there.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, we're willing to do that.
Okay.
Alrighty, Richard, would you call for a vote?
Terrell Spence. Randy Jensen. Randy, are you still
Yes.
there?
Yes.
Thank you. Roger Erickson.
Aye.
Mike Bartley.
Aye.
Michael McHugh. I think he dropped off. Okay. Tom Davis.
Aye.
Daryl Kleinjohn.
Aye.
Kyle Vanderwall.
Aye.
All right. Spencer Dietrich.
Aye.
Chad Ford.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you guys very much.
No, you just mentioned it. That was the applicant had called, and you don't need to read it or anything. Just that.
Agenda item 2020 variance 016 has been withdrawn. So we'll move on to agenda item 18, department reports.
Mr. Mueller, do you have anything you want to impart with us, first of all?
The only thing I would point out is, as of now, we, Todd Kays and I, are scheduled to deliver a presentation at the South Dakota Association of County Officials conference. We'll be doing that as a Zoom presentation, or we'll be doing that remotely. But what that'll be is an update on kind of how to implement the changes. There were several changes to state law in Senate Bill 157 from last year. And it'll just kind of be a tutorial on what was in it and how we recommend implementing it. We'll be on it, as well as representatives from District 3, and we may even have the president of South Dakota Planners Association on that. I am going to talk to Christy at the association to find out if there's a way to maybe allow county planning and zoning board members to remotely participate as well, since we're going to already be using our Zoom subscription for it, if it's possible for folks to listen in without physically being in Sioux Falls for that. So just want to give you a heads up on that. I don't off the top of my head recall the date of it, though. I should have looked that up before I mentioned it. But that is all I've got.
The conference is September 14 and 15. I don't know, I don't remember exactly what day you're doing it.
I don't either. I will just show up and talk whenever the boss tells me to. Thanks.
And did you get that email? I need to know the cost of a student membership for South Dakota Planners Association. I can't email that woman up in Watertown. It kicks back everything.
Okay, I will double check that. As of 2 years ago, we had gotten rid of that cost for student members. I'll double check, but it's entirely possible we'll allow students to go ahead and be members for free. But I'll verify that and get it back to you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
And next up, Mr. Chairman, is there's an ad hoc drainage committee going on right now, and during discussion on that, on August the 24th, it was discussed that townships may have a list of all the culverts in their township, and I wanted to check with some township members before I mail a letter out asking for that list.
We do not have a prepared list for that.
They told us during the meeting that about 5 years ago, they came through and put them yellow signs identifying the state paid for a contract, and that every township should have got a list of culverts. And I wanted to verify it before I send a letter out. I mean, if you guys don't have a list, there's no sense in me sending a letter out.
There was a map that was sent out. I think it was in the pamphlet that you pick up at the meeting up at the county building. But as of like an actual list, no. But I think there's a map that each township was supposed to have, and I would assume your clerks have it.
Because I know we were requested to make one, and I know we didn't do it, and then one day the signs were just all up where all the culverts were.
Okay. But the map wouldn't have diameters and stuff like that, or length.
I know there was a request sent out to do that. Some townships did it, some didn't. Is there a master list somewhere? I've heard other counties do have that, but
Well, Brookings County is going to have to make one, so if you guys don't have it, we'll have to pay some poor college kid to go out and take a ruler and measure all your culverts, I suppose. But we'll send the letters out. So you think the clerks would be the best one to send a letter to?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and that's all I've got, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Richard may have something, I don't know.
Just October's looking to be not quite as busy as of today. We only have one item on the agenda for next month, so we'll see how that goes between now and next Tuesday. So things are continuing to progress on. I'm looking at probably November, depending on time frame with Luke and the city getting back into the joint jurisdiction meeting prior to the zoning meeting to continue discussion on the update of the joint jurisdiction ordinance. So stay tuned, and to be detailed, I guess, will be the best comment there. So, and that's all that I have for right now.
Okay. Is there any need for an executive session?
No, sir.
Alrighty. Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion by Bartley.
Second.
Second by Vanderbilt. All in favor?
All right.
Meeting adjourned.